let's see if my new beautiful, colourful mic works. And give this our best shot, shall we? Alright, so. And we're just going to do some setup. So, thank you, and bear with me. There we go. Cool. Alright. Now, we're going to just submit. There we go. It works. Cool. Awesome. I just need to check that. And thank you for bearing with me for like the whole 30 seconds of the shenanigans getting set up. If you did happen to watch our last, whatever you want to call it, recap, it's no longer on Twitch. It's on the YouTube channel, which if you go to our bio or our socials channel there, you'll be able to actually go to our YouTube channel and watch it there. About an hour and a half. It covered a decent amount of what we went through from the start to a decent amount through it. Like I said in the actual video in the stream, I TLDR'd it like a lot. So I did shorten quite a bit of it. There are bits and bobs that you'll might get referenced during the campaign or might get referenced during the actual play that is I didn't cover in the recap. What we'll try and do, I'm glad it sounds good. Awesome. What we'll try and do is during the actual sessions, if something else come up, I might make it somehow I'll make it so that everyone who views it can actually look up the bits that we're missing. And also there are actual parts of the story that were individual to the characters that, you know, the other characters weren't privy to. So there was actual whispers and there was secrets and, you know, everything that makes a good session good. So you'll notice coming up in this recap, you'll notice straight away that there are points where I will not divulge what happens, but just tell you that a very small singular solo session happened for like 5 or 10 minutes or whatever it is, just so the characters get some like exposition and backstory. So I'm not going to rattle on too much longer because we want to get started. But the last recap is on our YouTube channel, so you can check it out there. It's going to be there forever, and then we'll consistently. We're getting to the point now where if I can finish this or the next one, we should be able to play again. Which is exciting because it's been a while. So our brave comrades were given a task by the local shopkeeper. Sorry, Elkar, who he's the halfling that owns the shop, and his latest kind of collection of supplies had been stolen by bandits. Torkelin, who was his shop assistant, she does know where the bandits' camp is. She did get robbed and attacked, but she did manage to escape. So she does know where they are. So she does agree to go to a certain distance with the party because they have agreed to go search for the belongings of Elkar on behalf of him in exchange for getting a very nice pseudo dragon as a pet for Uxorium. What we'll quickly do, that's a recap. Thank you. I'm glad. It's beautiful. I love it. We have Bong the orc. We have Uxorian the human, but he's short, like dwarfism type short. Helving the tiefling, and then we have Fleur as well, the Asima. So quickly go through them. You can recap them, but they are what's currently our 4 players. So they all get ready to go. They get their provisions. They get everything ready. Torkelin says we'll go on the morrow, ready to go to where the quarry is. So there was a quarry in a mountain. So essentially, they're in Bleak Mist Village. just past that is the plains and a thoroughfare that leads up to the base of the mountain. At the base of the mountain, there is a mountain that is just nearby that kind of segregates the rest of the land behind it. So there is a mountain there. There were miners that used to, actually, like, it was a quarry that the miners actually used to dig into the mountains, acquire its ore, sell it, what miners do. And so that was abandoned quite some moons ago, and now these bandits have chosen to take up residence there and made it a little base of operations. So the party was given the task to go, politely ask for their stuff back for their questee, and so they agree. They take a rest. They wake up the next day and they get Torquilin to start the journey and show them where they need to go, essentially. And so the party adventures out. They venture out of Bleak Mist for the first time since being there. They then are on this is also a very important aspect of what I'll describe as because this is set in the Fae, and the Fae is a wonderful, mystical, wondrous world where everything's not quite what it seems and everything is quite different. Hence the whole, there's perpetual daylight and there's no darkness and everything like that in this portion of the Fae and everything like that. When they're on this road and when they're in this part of the journey, the greenery is very reminiscent of being back on Earthrealm. So the whole party actually, for the first time since being here, and it's only been a couple of days, but this is the first time they felt a sense of homesickness. This is the first time that they've actually felt like they kind of know that they're not where they're, like, this is an unknown land. This is a foreign land to them. They haven't been there before, nary one. But this is the first time they've kind of felt like, oh, I realize that, like, this isn't just another place. This is a completely separate realm. I'm not I can't just walk back to my hometown ever. That's not applicable where I am. So that kind of sets in, and they all get not a sense of dread, but they get a sense of, like, melancholy, and they felt very kind of homesick. And it was nice to give them a sense of, like, hey, yes, you are, like, well-worn adventurers. You're masters of your trades and of your classes and everything like that. You've been in many adventurers and stuff like that, but this is just the first time you've been on one where it's not a simple hop, skip, and a jump back to where I can go. You are in a completely different plane of existence. So they kind of soak that in, but then snap back to reality. They're walking along with Torquilin. She's having just a general chit chat with them. They then, after I believe it was like an hour or two of walking, because it's about a 4 or 5 hour walk to get to the base of the mountain where you can it diverges the path. You can either head towards where the quarry is, which is, actually cut up granite where you have to walk through like an actual, like, slate walls and everything, or you can head up to the mountain, and the mountain path proceeds through the mountain onto the other side where, the rest of the land may be. There are other ways, but that's kind of the main way. And so they only get a couple of hours in, and a satyr decides that he enjoys the fact that Torquilin busts out a musical instrument, which is, and I can't remember how you call it, it's the little instruments that you flick the little keys on them, and they make that kind of hollow noise. I'll look up the original name, but I have one. God willing, I can't remember the name of them. But she's playing a tune just to kind of make the mood a little more, like, just to bring the spirits up of everyone there and make the journey, seem less dull. So she's playing that. The satyr likes what he hears. He likes the instrument, and he immediately commandeers it straight out of Torquilin's hand. And being, not quite pacifist, but being, I don't want to end the life of this poor satyr, they decide to use, they all acquired, like I said, the TLDR version, they all acquired some pies back during the Witchlight Carnival, which they had several different types. They had basically a pie that had a skull on it, which had depending on what they roll, had a certain amount of spiders actually living inside of it. So when you eat it, basically you have spiders you ingest the spiders, and they kind of crawl through your esophagus and your throat, and the imagery is quite unpleasant. Or they had one had angel wings on it, and it was like a raspberry tart pie. And it was really nice. It was a beautiful pie to eat. It was very delicious. And then there's your plain pies, like your normal ones. So they decided to use the spider pie as a makeshift projectile and hit the satyr dead on, and they use the spider one. So essentially, the minute it lands on him, he's covered head to toe in spiders as they're like rummaging all around his hair and his fur. And because he's a satyr, he's got fur all over, so they're kind of crawling underneath his fur. And he immediately just busts out like in his uncomfortableness. He's like trying to frantically get all his spiders off. He's hating what's happening and everything like that. They go over and essentially reacquire the item back off him as he's sobbing from all the spiders. And they do, they say like, let's not ever do that again and leave him be and proceed onwards after that. Because Torquelin's like, I'm fine. It's what it is. It's all good. So that's just a little side thing that happened during that. I thought it was funny. They proceed onwards. They get to a campfire. Just before there's a river. There's a bridge that goes over the river, of course, that does get to the base of the mountain. They find this campfire and they can see that there has been what you assume is battle, but it's more of a attack. There are bodies laid everywhere. There's weapons there. There's blood strewn everywhere. Clothes has been tattered and everything like that. So it's obviously, these people that are deceased and are on the floor have been attacked and killed. And so we do have our lovely friend who loves the undead to kind of get a sense or feel of what transpired during this attack. So he's able to see kind of the memories of what saw. And he does get a glimpse of basically some very large man, like an enormous man, come up while this poor soul's being kind of held by another bandit. And ask him some questions and then offs him immediately. They steal and ransack the rest of their stuff, and the bandits mosey back on their way, leaving just carnage in their wake. They then realize that they kind of got a figure or a number of the amount of bandits that were there, which I believe there was 7 at that point, and they took this advice on point and then proceeded onwards. They get to the basin, they get to the river where the bridge is. Torquelin then gives this is my kind of point, my limit. I'm not going anywhere past this. Anywhere past over that bridge is too close to where I was, attacked, and I'm done. I don't want to deal with that. And so of course they're like, yep, that's fine. You go back to Bleak Mish. You get within safety of the walls. That's okay. We'll take it from here. They thank her, and she departs. And so the party then proceeds onwards. They make it to the base of the mountain. They set a path towards a quarry. They go towards the quarry. It does not take long before they get to where you can see where it's kind of like I said, it's like slate granite walls all the way along, because it's a quarry, so they've basically dug out to be able to walk through it. But it is very narrowish, so you can see what's coming in front of you, but also behind you as well. And so they can hear the voices of certain individuals further ahead, and so they take caution before they go in, realizing that, seeing what they saw through Helvig's eyes, that there was quite a few of them, which they were outnumbered by physical non-zombie means. They were outnumbered by players, and that bandits can be very unpredictable, very ruthless, and also the fact that they had 2 Goliaths. So once they get there, our resident Pokemon trainer Helvig has his zombies used as decoys, because he can telepathically link and see through the eyes of the zombies. So he can use them kind of like recon scouts. So he can send them out, and they're basically like, that's a zombie. He can see through them, see what's happening, And once they're dead, they're dead. He has to find another corpse to make more, of course, and everything like that. But it's he sees them as tools, which most necromancers do. I mean, it's aside from being a corpse, they have no other use. So if you can put them to use, why not? So sends them out, sends the one zombie out as a distraction, which once it gets enough out into the kind of open space that the Goliaths, which are essentially the two main bodyguards of these bandits, can see them, they immediately turn their gaze towards the zombie, and this gives the opportunity for the team to kind of sneak around to the right hand side. If I had the map, I'd show you, which you'll see the map, and I've got the whole overlay working to hopefully. Anyway, we'll get to that later. But they sneak around so that they are in stealth and not within the realms of everyone look at me. It's also one of the zombies that is combustible, because Helvig does learn the ability to make a concoction that, once mixed within what's left of the blood of the zombies, makes it combustible. So when they come over and want to give you a friendly zombie hug, they just and ignite, and it's a small firebomb. So he has those, and he has various other ones which you'll see as well. So he does have that one kind of get sent out to be the recon. So you can see it's got the glowing chestal area that showcases it's a little volatile and not to go near it. So the Goliaths see that, and they go, yep, that's not okay. One of them walks over, the other one kind of stays back a bit, walks over to it and takes a shot at the zombie and immediately gets hurt. So zombie takes the damage, doesn't die, if I remember right. Somehow this was where basically I was rolling terrible and other people were somehow rolling terrible, and it was just like, one of you should be dead, but you're not. And so the zombie survives, and it's kind of like this back and forth for a small bit where they're just flailing at each other, and the other Goliath is like actually mocking the one that's being attacked and making fun of him and laughing and stuff, which is enraging the one that's being attacked, because he's huge. He should be able to just stomp on this thing and it's done for, but he can't, simply because it's how D&D roles work. But it's yes. So apart from that, it's he does manage to inflict enough damage to it that it does combust, causing some damage to. So the zombie does get kind of patchouf, and does cause damage to the nearby area, which then initiates combat for the zombie and everything like that. This is when Bong, our lovely hero, jumps out and begins the initiation. And so this is when everyone decides to go, cool, because the other party members for the bandits up towards the campfire in the middle of these tents see what's going on and go, yeah, we're going to go and investigate. And so they start moseying their way down, and they go, all right, cool, it's on. And so initiation begins, the fight happens. There is, the two Goliaths, there's a knight, there's a ranger, there's a mage as well, so something can kind of combat everyone accordingly. And the fight was good. Like I said, shrink it real quick. It did last quite a bit, and there were some really good rolls, some really bad rolls. Those Goliaths, man, I don't know why. Just the Goliaths, I rolled so bad. They had really good plus attack on them, and they just were not hitting at all. And they were supposed to be like the heavy hitters, and they were just they were getting mocked. The ranger and the mage and the other team were doing more damage than what the Goliaths were. So the fight happens, and everything starts to go awry. Spells are flung, arrows are shot, and swords clash. And by the end of it, our heroes are successful. They end up killing all the bandits. They finish them all off, and it is at the very last minute, that they notice that at the kind of end of the camp, past the tents, there was a rogue the entire time that was that was stealthed and hid the entire time, was going to try and do some sneaky stuff, but instead chose the opportunity to go like, we're not going to win this, I'm going to retreat. And so she runs, and I mean, she bolts for her life after this battle is finished. And Bong gives chase, and my god, that boy can run when he wants to. He can run. He gives chase to her, like, immediately. She was a fair league ahead of him, and he still managed to catch up. Like, he closed the distance really quickly. So you just imagine, like, she's running through like these kind of thin concrete walls on either side, no way up, no way back, because you've got this raging orc barbarian just like trudging with this giant crushing great hammer behind him, club behind her, and she's just like, nope, only way is forward, and she's just running for her life. It was good. And so they get to the next part where they get to it's kind of like a hillscape that's going upwards towards, you can see there's a large part, a cutout of the mountain that is kind of enveloping around them. And you can see there's a cavern up there. And she's obviously trying to run towards that because she starts basically shouting. And then she gets up to the top of the hill and she shoots a flare into the sky. And then she gets caught up by the team and she's offed. She's done for. Which then successfully finishes the combat. And Helvig takes it upon himself to fly upwards and take away, like, to actually discard the flare that have been shot up as a kind of like, let's not attract the attention of whoever else might be around here. Which is a very smart thing to do. It's a very smart thing to do. I have, as like any DM, you have plans upon plans and backup plans, and you're just kind of like, I have this ready to go, and as soon as the flare kind of hits that point, you're like, oh, cool, and this happens. And instead, Helvig's like, nah, cool, it's mine, fuck the flare. And you just kind of like, yes, I see. Well done. Good ingenuity. But this meant that they had successfully finished that small task, which is ending the bandits. So there's a cave, or a cavern, whatever you want to call it, an opening in the wall of the mountain, and they can't see, so they can see within it because it's dark, but it kind of curves itself around the corner, so they can't exactly look around the corner. And so their party decides to allow another recon to happen. So they look around the area, and Helvig goes, don't worry, let me just send old mate in, which is a zombie. Pulls out one of his zombies, and off he shambles in there, shambles into the actual room. Gets around the corner, looks around, gets up to what looks to be a really makeshift, ramshackled jail cell, and can see that there's a elven woman kind of like strung up on the actual wall itself. And then that was the last of the recon. My God, the last of the recon, as the party members then proceed inwards. Except for Helvig, he stays outside to have a look around to see if there's anything he can see outside. The party members enter into the cave. They can see that there is definitely use. There's barrels of supplies around. There are makeshift beds. There are actual like water skins. There's a campfire. So it's been used, and it's been lived in by people. So it's been utilized by someone. Most likely the bandits, obviously, because the bandits she was heading to her. So they find that, and then they walk immediately up to this poor elven woman who's strung up on the wall, and she's tied by her wrists to cuffs hanging and chained to the wall. Very dungeon-esque, though they look. And so they decide to try and get her down, and they realize that it takes actually no effort whatsoever. So the actual cuffs were on her, but they weren't locked. They were simply just wrapped around her wrists enough to that they clunked together, and they were shut, but they weren't locked. And so they're like, oh, all right, we'll just get her down. So they just they pull off the chains, and She's also got her legs are bound as well. She's unconscious at the moment. You can see she's breathing, shallow breathing. Doesn't seem to be like, in dire need of medical attention. She's definitely hurt, but doesn't need dire medical attention. And so they they get her down and use the ingenuity and time to kind of make a small bedding for her that they can drag along. Sorry, they can drag along the ground and bring her with them without worrying about not having to carry her, because if they need to, they can just kind of drop the cart and fight and do what they need to do. So they're using their smarts and their brains, and so they make shift one of them, put her on it, do everything they need to. They look around, find some supplies. Bong finds a decent amount of money and pockets it, because he tells them, "Hey, I've found Luro." We're on the light side. I found some lure in a barrel, and they were like, "Well, please grab it." And it was 150, I remember. It's a decent amount for this point in the campaign, whatever you want. It's a decent amount. And so he pockets it, keeps it. We're not doing weight for coins as well, because they'll never be able to carry anything else, ever, if they have too much money. We can have some mercantile-looking people with their fancy swag and stuff. He pockets that. There's food, there's vegetables, everything like that. They grabs all the provisions, what he can, grabs a barrel and everything. So he grabs the barrel, and then goes, all right, there's one more exit that goes around. They walk up there and they can see that there is just discarded bones everywhere. It's like a large pile of them that has been used. So basically they've essentially like, oh, well, that's not great. So they basically move through them, bringing the, two of them go that way, and if I'm trying to remember now. Yes. So, Bong grabs the young elf. Very pale, flesh white hair. Like, she's white everywhere. She's got like pure white skin, pure white hair, like angelic snow, like white. Like everything is white about her, and it's very ethereal to look at and very odd, because you're like, there are snow elves and everything like that, but this is the first time I've seen one where it's like she has like the full bleached, like everything going on there, eyebrows, everything like that, her, like eyelashes and all that, and like the deep black of like her eyes were just like in the abyss when you're staring into it. Like there's no pupils, it's just all black. And so I take her outside, and the other ones go around the top. They get around the top, and they see that it kind of like follows around to an exit in the wall, and it kind of drops down. So there's a fair drop that they see when they get to the exit. And they look down and they can see there's a cart there that has been hidden among some bushes. And, no, sorry, that's right. They sent the zombie. I remember now. They sent the zombie round. And the zombie walked all the way around and just went, what the? And fell into the cart itself, thus discovering the cart. The cart. Discovering cart, and all the provisions that come with it. So there was barrels mixed amongst their crates, mixed amongst their clothing. There was also parchments as well, kind of like bundled up like large rolls of parchments and everything like that. The ones you use to write in spells and everything. And so Helvig's like, yep, I found it. I'm going to go through it and have a look. There's also 2 large bags of mail. Like, I mean, like mail. So like post office mail. And he starts just basically rummaging through it to see if there's anything valuable he can get out of it. Which I was like, go for it. You're provocative, but yeah, sure, if you want to. I'm not going to stop you. This is why people go chaotic neutral, because they're like, I'm in it for myself. And so he starts going through that. They bring the young elven woman across and go, well, what are we gonna do with her? Like, what should we do? The minute they kind of like make skin to skin contact with her, Exurian and Fleur actually get a vision that imparts themselves into their mind, in which it kind of like does a bird's eye view where it zooms out and kind of like it expands over the landscape itself, and it can shows these kind of like pillars that have been carved out, and it got this mural that goes along the wall nearby where they are, and then it kind of zooms out, goes further down, and sees there's a crypt, and a cemetery. Further down as well, it goes even further again and kind of zooms out, like you're going expansively fast over the landscape until it gets to a village that is on fire. And you can see this village is like there's people screaming and running around. There's this enormous like demon standing in the middle of the village with his dual great swords, kind of like screaming, and he's like just swinging them and then just slicing people to shreds, like they have no remorse whatsoever. And it kind of like flourishes all the way back to the back of their minds, and they're back where they were. They're back where the vision finishes, and they see the elven woman's kind of sitting up now. Her eyes are open. Once again, there's black abyss within the sockets of her eyes, and they're like, "Well then, did you see that as well?" And they're like, "Yep, I definitely saw that." So they conversed about that, and they're like, "What do we do about her? Because that's not normal. That's not okay. That's that's arcane in nature. That's not okay." So they take it upon themselves and they go, "Yep, let's mosey on with what we need to do. We can either go back the way we came with the cart." They had no horse, but Bong was like, "Don't worry, I'll go there so I can bring this along with me. I'm a big strong boy," which he is. Or they can decide if they want to. They can decide to actually go and see the other way, which is they can go southwards, which is where they saw the kind of stone columns that have been carved down, very ornate ones that have been made by someone, and the mural on the wall. So they decide to go that way. So they get the cart. Bong, being the big boy, is carrying it with him, and they then go, cool. They get down to where the mural is. Damn, that's a great question. I think we're in August. No, we're in September, and then we start in February. Yes, so 6 months, if I make sense. March, April, May, June, July, August. I'm good with maths. 6 months. 5 to 6 months. Every Monday for like 4 hours. And it's every week. Every week is what we try and do. And so far, like, it's been good. Like, the upkeeps, we've managed to do it every week without fail. Like, without fail, we do it every week. And so that's been the best part about it, is you never really feel like you're losing out on it. And yeah, it is rare. Like, I'm very lucky. This campaign, the last one I did as well, thankfully, like, every week we were fine to do it. The last one got to the point where they're like, other commitments came up and it was every 2 weeks. But man, every week I'm like raring to go. It hits Monday, I'm like, let's do this. Let's make more shenanigans. Let's make content for people to watch. So it's been good. It's been fantastic, actually. And everyone gets really into it. And the further we've gotten into it, the more comfortable they've got with each other, and the more conversations that have happened, and the more they've kind of opened up. And yeah, the whole role-playing aspect it's gotten phenomenal. It's gotten way better because everyone's kind of out of their shell. At the start, it's like every other campaign. They're like, oh, I don't know who you are and stuff like that. But yeah, this has been great. At the moment, 4. There's 4 in the campaign. We do have cameos, which I'll get to later because we're getting up to it, where I have other people that have joined in momentarily, just kind of like jump in and be like, hey, I want to try, and they're like, the characters will be in the story for a bit and then they'll leave. So they have the main 4, and then we've got people that jump in and out every now and again just to have some fun. So which I don't mind doing. As long as it's applicable and I can fit it into the story, I'll allow it. It's just we have our core dynamic group, and that's the four of our comrades. So yeah, it's good. Thank you for commenting. And actually, like, I like talking about it. Yeah, I get really passionate about it because I really like what I'm doing, and I want the story to keep going. So yeah, they get to this is kind of like their first big, I would say, lore drop for the world, and what has transpired in the Fey realm in the last 1,000 years. So they get to where it's like the kind of Roman-esque looking pillars. They've got the large stone columns with the carves them on the side. They've got the square tops and bottoms. And then you have you have the mural that goes all along the wall. And so from the start to the end, this mural goes the entire way of it. And so the four comrades look at the mural and they're like soaking it in. And this is where I get to do the DM exposition. Yay! I get to be like, guys, shut up and listen. We're going to do some backstory. Which is fine. Like, try not to do it too often, but they got into it. And so what they see basically three large angelic beings in this kind of like large war, like it's a war essentially. There's a war happening. There's three large angelic beings that are kind of like in the middle of this warscape, and you can see at the very end there's this dark, because everything's carved out of stone on this wall, with like a light tinge to it to make it look holy, but you can see there's like a black essence at the end of this like battlefield at the end, which is obviously the enemy that they're fighting. And then it shows the next mural as they're walking along slowly, kind of absorbing it. They see that these angelic beings are like fighting the minions of this bad evil thing that's on this mural, because they have no idea about it yet. And they're just seeing these angelic beings kind of wiping out these creatures and everything like that. There's no problem. And then the next one, they can actually see that there is that black spot kind of has more. So it has like generals or lieutenants, whichever one you want to rank them as. That they're now fighting like spread apart. So you've got like one of the angelic beings fighting one, you've got the other one fighting the other one, and then you've got one fighting like the black essence one. It gets to the second last mural. You can see that the two like female angelic beings win their battles with their respective evil lieutenants, and then they get back to help the third one, which is a male one, and you can see that he's fighting the main evil that's there. The last mural they see, because there's one more that's destroyed after that, because yes, you can see that male angelic being actually like sort of sacrifices himself, or like he takes a thrust of a blade to like actually finish off this evil essence at the same time that he takes an actual wound that's going to end him. And so that unfortunately means that he's passed away. So you've got these two angelic females that now have finished this battle, won this war. They obviously think they have, as there's the rest of the murals are all destroyed and crumbling and everything, but they have they notice that there's the male angelic being is unfortunately passed away, but he sacrificed himself to finish what needed to be done. So they get past the murals and they're all like absorbent, like, yep, that's a bit of Fey history that I didn't know before, and they get to the crypt, also I should say the cemetery. Which once they get there, they can see there's also once again bodies littered around there, and they're fresh ones. So there's actual like 4 fresh corpses ready for Helvig, our resident necromancer, to be like, cool, ammunition, yoink 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 yoink. But he notices one of them is like a big burly man, like really muscular, tall, well built, and he's the one that he saw in that vision back at the campfire, and he's like, cool, I specifically want him. I have plans for him. It's very weird. He's just like, I have plans for all these dead bodies. But he's like, cool, I want that one. He rolls well. He manages to successfully do it. I make up a homebrew of the zombies. For every zombie he wants, I make up a homebrew for it. So he's got varying degrees of different zombies and what they do, because he's got them all in a bag of holding. It's literally, like I said, he's like a Pokemon trainer. He's just like, hup, zombie, hup, zombie, hup, zombie. And so he gets the big boy and he tucks him away in his bag. The female elf kind of wakes up and she's a bit dazed. She doesn't know what's going on. She can't actually speak or anything like that. She seems frantic, and so she imparts a message into the mind of one of the comrades. Sorry, into one of the comrades that, and it's weird. She's not quite right. Something's in her, and gnawing away at her, and she needs alcohol. She needs something to block out whatever's in her that's trying to take over. And so Helvig, a resident lover of all fine wines and alcohol, goes, yeah, go for it. He'd like pours into the poor woman who's like chained to the carriage, and just like gently pour alcohol into her mouth, and she ingests it. I was like, oh well, yep, this is happening. It doesn't sound great on paper, but it works. And so it's enough to make her tipsy, which gives her like the ability for her to fight back against this entity that's inside of her mind. And so she's awoken, and she kind of gets up, and she's like talking to them all. And so she says her name is Visk, so Visk, and that thanks to the alcohol, she's like, it utilizes, like, she's able to kind of block out the entity in her head that's like doing this to her and like, I want your body, because she's inebriated. And so she has a chat with him going, hey, like, I would love your help to get this out of me. Like, I do not want this. They basically, this area, and hence the dead bodies that are here, like, they essentially, like, she's like, I don't know who they're working for, the bandits, I mean. She's like, I don't know who the bandits were working for, I don't know what they're doing, but I was literally, unfortunately, tied down and had a robed figure come do a ritual and put this entity inside of me. It has been whispering in my ear for yonks. I want this thing out. I don't want to be like this anymore. Like, this is torture. And so they're like, right, cool. Yep, that's not great. Don't know how much we can trust you because you do have a chattering demon monkey in your brain, but let's see what we can do. But they're lovely about it, and they go, yep, cool, let's go ahead with it. They do notice that around them there's a large statue of a winged knight. Clearly's, got the soldiers at the ready stance with his sword posed into the ground, and there's a chalice or a goblet attached to the side of the front of this statue at the base of it. I made, and I'll admit it now, and I don't care, it's on record, I did make a puzzle that had essentially, I did the maths wrong. That's what I did. So essentially, it had a message on the above the goblet. There was a message that basically read what you were supposed to place into the goblet to access the stairs downwards. So they investigated, and I wrote 5 or -5 on the back of the actual statue. But what they were supposed to do is get the letters that were there. So I think it was like B something 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 something. So it was 5 letters. If they went back 5 letters in the alphabet from that, they would get the correct letter. So one was like blood, one was gold, I think, and one was wine, sorry, one was gold, and one was blood, or something like that. And I started with the -5, and then somehow ended up with some of the letters being needed to be +5. So they were like working it, going, oh yeah, we'll go negative. And it was only like the first 3 letters were like, you go back 5. Yep, that makes sense. And then the rest were all forward 5. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I went over this like 3 times and I was right. But yeah, I bunged that. That was great. But they figured it out. So it's like, kudos to them. They figured it out. They placed the appropriate items into the goblet, which did open up the stairs into like a crypt, essentially, underneath the legs of this statue. I said to myself after this, I was like, whatever puzzles I make, I'm going to give to someone else that's not in the campaign to double check it and be like, does this make sense? And can you do it? And if they go, yes, I'd be like, cool, it's been proofread going into this now. Because I was like, I went over it like 3 times. I was like, yeah, it works. And then I sent it to the wilds, and yeah. Anyway, so they set the stairs, spiral downwards, and pitch black. So they're like, well, what do we do now? Our resident recon goes, cool. I have zombies. I can send them down there and have a look. Visk, the elven woman, feels a like supernatural pull and goes, I feel like I need to go down there. I feel like something, this thing is pulling at me to go down there. I want to go down there. This might be the where they did it all, because it's all very big haze to her, like when it all happened. And so they're like, I guess, like it's a bit weary and a bit weird, but we could do that. And so Helvig's like, no, I'll send a zombie down with her. And if the zombie goes down there and she's all good, then I'll follow suit. And so she goes down, Visk goes down, and the zombie follows afterwards. It was funny because I'm like, zombies shuffle, so essentially like it would have just been like shuffling his feet, going like everything, because it's like they can't step down. They're zombies. They don't have no motor function for that, and so it's like literally sliding its feet and just slipping its foot down every single step. So everything's loud when it goes down. But Visk and zombie number 64 make it to the base. And it is 100% like a crypt. Like they get down there, they can see there's a lot of tombs with different varieties of soldiers on them, similar to the one that was upstairs. They have a very specific ornate armor on them, but some of them have wings on them, some have pauldrons, some don't. So it, depending on your rank and stuff you're in, is where you got laid to rest here. At the very end, there's a small altar that had just a lit candle, which was still lit, and a bowl there was nothing in it. And then if you look to your left and right, there were some statues that had been created. You could see that on the left-hand side, when you looked, you could see that there was actually... Sorry, if you look to the right-hand side, I'm remembering now. If you look to the right-hand side, you could see that there were statues of the angelic beings, and they were still up, and they were still working and everything like that. They looked beautiful, and they were like gorgeous. And then you can see down the bottom, it actually had the names on them. So I had the name Tiandra and the name Tasha. So for those lore nerds out there, Tiandra is the archfey of the Feywild, and her sister, depending on canon and stuff, by blood or by whatever you want to call it, Tasha, who everyone's favorite crazy person who makes like Tasha's hideous laughter and everything, her sister were the two female angelic beings. And then the male statue on the left-hand side was stationary by itself, and so underneath that had Oberon, which was the brother of the two of them. And so we now had our wow moment. It was like, cool. Like, we had 3 archfays fighting this big bad, whatever they were fighting, yonks ago. And it took a whole archfey sacrificing itself to finishing off. So that was a big deal. So Oberon sacrificed himself to finish the war and kill the big bad at that point. And Tiandra and Tasha essentially after that split up the Fae into 2 realms. You had the Seelie, which is Tiandra's side, and the Unseelie side, which is Tasha's side. Tasha's side's more dominated by darkness, and not negative darkness, just that's what she prefers. Like, she prefers not having perpetual day. She wants night. She wants the abyss. She wants the velvet curtain of the sky. And she wants, creatures of all manners to come there. So, like, there's a town there called Misimbra, which is basically just vampires, werewolves, any type of folklore creatures live there. It's a very mishmash of, like, things that when you see, like, a normal person see them, they might be like, I'm a bit weirded out by you. So they're like, come here. Come live with us. We don't care. And on the Seelie side, which is Tiandra's side, it's the opposite. It's all light, holy, very open, very warm, very inviting. Not the elements are inviting, but like it's very much like, your standard, you would say, light versus dark. They're not versing because they come to an accord. They still love each other. They don't talk to each other too much anymore, but they're sisters once again. They go, cool, we've split up what's there, and we're gonna look after it. You do that side, I'll do that side. And so that's currently how like the phase split up into two sides, and how the whole currency things work. I made the currency easy. It's like Luro is the light side, Sealy. That's what they primarily take there, apart from other things like your name, your memories, and stuff like that. Kuro is the holy hell. What's the thing? Denominate coins. Currency. Wow. Kuro is the currency for the unsealy side, which is Tasha's side. Kuro, I think it means black in some country, but yeah, it just made sense to me. So you got Kuro and Luro. And so that's where those statues came from. So Helvig sees there's no danger, there's no threat down there, and he ventures down by himself. So he goes down. He goes down by himself. He goes, "Hey guys, I'm gonna go down there. If I need you, I'm gonna go down there." And so they're like, "Okay, like that's fine. We trust you. Like we're all a party now. We're all kind of like not like ooh holding secrets and stuff. It's like no, we're working together." The dark. Unsealy? Because you got Sealy. Sealy is the light. And Unsealy, which is the UN Sealy, is the darkness side. Kuro is the currency, so Kuro. And Luro is the light side currency, Luro. Misimbra is the main city on the Unsealy side. And an Anvil is the main city, like the capital on the Sealy side, which is where they're trying to get to. Anvil is where like the big ball is happening. And so yeah, Helvig heads down and Kara, yeah, Kuro, sorry, yeah, Kuro and Luro. And so Helvig heads down and he things transpire down there, and a small amount of time passes, and the rest of the party are like, I think I want to go down there and see what's going down. So they all go down afterwards, and they do see Helvig with a dagger in his hand, with blood on it, and Visk is she has passed away. She is deceased, with the blood of Visk definitely on this dagger. And so Helvig has this dagger in his hand and explains to him they were not able to exorcise this demon whatsoever. Visk was done. She's like, I can't do this anymore. I am finished. I'm done. Like if there was nothing else down here to help her, she's like, please put me out of my misery. I don't want this entity to get out because it feels dark and ominous and evil. Helvig's like, he's like, I don't really feel comfortable with it, but he's like, I'm all right. We'll abide by your wishes. When they go to inspect the corpse of Visk, they do notice that she's 100% dead, with a large smile on her face. Like it's a very like warm, like she's happy with the current predicament of what's happened. And so they do something very ceremonious and very, very nice, and they lay her to rest. So they find one of the tombs that is empty, and they lay her to rest in it, with different means. So Fleur puts a flower on her that they acquired from the Witchlight Carnival at the start, as well as Bong playing a beautiful melody for her, and then they enclose the tomb with the lid and push it back into with the rest of them, giving it like an honorable burial. It's very solemn. It's a very moving scene, and it was very well done. It was very poetic for them to do. And so they they go, well, there's nothing else here. They have a look around and see if there's anything else there. Not really. They learn about the statues, so they can put two and two together and go, cool, the statues mean what was on the mural. And they go, well, we have the supplies. Let's take the supplies back to Elkar. And so they do that. We can skip the entire exposition of what happens on the way back. They make it back to Bleak Mist with the cart in hand, which is great. They get there in the dead of night too. So, and when I say night, it's everyone's asleep, even though it's daylight outside. Because perpetual sun. Sun. And so they they get back to Bleak Mist, the village, with the cart and all the supplies in there. Even though Helvig spent the entire time literally rummaging through mail, going, this could be important. Nah, it's not. This could be important. Nah, this is not. Literally, like, reading people's mail. Like, all right, man. You two here. And they're all like, sure. And so he's reading through and stuff like that. And he does keep one letter. They get back. They knock on the door. I think it was 3 a.m., if I remember. That's 3 a.m. They knock on the door of Elkar. He, he's got his little suit on and everything. He's asleep, so he kind of rubs his eyes when he opens the door, and he's just sees them all there, and they're like, "Hey, we secured your stuff. We did it." And he's overjoyed. He immediately bursts open and wide awake, and he's like, "Oh my god, you did it! Thank God." He's like, "I'll go." He's like, "I'm quickly gonna go secure it. Please go get some rest. Come back in the morning. You've done me an immense service." And they're like, "Yeah, sweet." So they go back to the bar. The tavern, the Mossbottle Tavern, run by River, and they rest up. They come back the next day. Elkar's like, "Please come." First thing, you've done me a great service. So they get back there, and they enter into the shop, and Elkar's like, "So I know I promised you the dragon, but I really like this dragon now. Kind of become attached to this dragon now. Would you perchance take something else other than this dragon as your reward?" It's a pseudo dragon, so they're very small. Literally the classic Citrus. And Uxurian, the young one who's our druid, he's like, "I kind of want the dragon, but also I see he's very attached to you." And so he had this inner turmoil where he's like, "What do I do?" He's like, this dragon's literally perched on Elkar's shoulder. He seemed very happy, he's not leaving or anything like that. And so they're like, "Well, let's let the dragon decide, and we'll see where it goes to." So they did rollsies. I rolled with him. He rolled animal handling to see if he can get the dragon to come to him. And it did. He did. Just barely. I think it was by 1 or 2 did he beat the animal handling check, and the dragon became more attuned to Uxurian. And so, help me. And so it flies over to him, kind of climbs up the back of him, tearing some of his clothing because it hasn't done it before. And wraps itself around his neck, and it's got a tail and everything, and he's kind of okay, let's just, you're a bit tight there, has to unsheath it a bit, as it's strangling him and stuff like that. But he acquired the dragon, and he had his little pet now, so he's got Fafnir, so Fafnir. He's got Fafnir, his little pseudo dragon pet, and he was very happy. And so they also acquired other parts. Also, Elkar's you can take, please, you get one item each. And so Bong notices on the wall that there is a sheet of paper that's glowing. No one else seems to notice that's glowing, and he's like, "Yoink, I'll take that." Helvig, being a necromancer, looks through the books and tomes and everything, notices that there's a kind of deep forest green one that is different to the rest of them, and goes, "Can I just take all these books?" And he's like, "Yeah, maybe." And then he rolls for persuasion, and he's just like, "I'm taking these books." And he's like, "You're taking them books. All good." So he takes the books, and Fleur also looked around and unfortunately doesn't see anything. She sees a knife that was like pretty much like, oh, that's pretty, but not anything special about it. There was also barrels of potions that are heavily discounted, but they have no labels because Alka has no idea what they are. Because he basically just mixes and mashes sometimes to just see what he can make. And he goes, yep, cool. Don't know what this is. Chucks it into the barrel. And so like I was like, yeah, you can buy like, it's like 1 luro for like 5 potions if you want, but you don't know what they do. And so they're like, oh, discounted potions, yes, please. So they're like rummaging through these potions, picking up these literally unlabeled potions. They have no idea what's inside these potions or what they'll do, but they're like, I want the green one, I want the purple one, I want those rainbow ones, and they're grabbing all these potions. Like, yeah, it was literally a potion loot box. It was great. And then I was like, cool, I have a table of like what these do when you're ready to swig them and stuff like that. So it was like, yep. So like Bong's like, I'll take 7. Helvig's like, I'll take some. So they just gathered all these random potions, and so they were like, sweet, we're good, we're done, thank you. Like, and they leave out the front. They have the whole day to themselves. I think this one, the next session, actually turned into a shopping one. I was like, it always happens, which yeah, it did. Became a shopping episode, which I was like, that's fine, I like that. So Helvig's like, I want new duds, I want to look suave. He's a red tiefling. He's got wings. He's like, I want to look the part. So he finds a tailor in town and goes, I want a suit. I want a hat. I want some pants. I want a cane. And he gets all of them. So he has a cane that has like, it's like a sleek, long body that's black with a gargoyle sitting on the top of it. Black suit, red tie underneath and a red thing. So he's like, looks like the devil. He's got like the black hat and he's got the actual like black sleek pants. So he's like got the suit and stuff. And I was like, he's ready to make deals. And he's all dressed to the nines. He's like, I'm good. He then goes, I wonder if I can get something to help us. Cause he's like always trying to think of ways where he doesn't have to use his feet to walk. He's like, I wonder if I can think of some way to do it. And he's like, is there any type of someone who, you know, crafts things or can, you know, sells carriages? And I was like, yeah, there's literally like, there's the stables where they sell or make carriages. So they get there. Helvig's like, goes inside. And there's a bugbear who's like, you know, he's the one who actually creates a lot of the carriages around here. And he's the one that runs the stables. And so he's like, you know, yeah, I could sell you. Also, I do voices for all of the characters too. I'm just not going to do them now because, yes, which we're doing the sessions, I'll do them. But like, the bugbear's like, yeah, I make carriages. Like, sure, like I can make you one. It's this much amount, and he's like, I don't have that much money, but I have stuff to sell and trade. Would you do that? And he's like, yep, sure, let's do it. And so they do a trade off where he trades in all the parchments he gathers from the Elka stuff, which he kind of, you know, goes, I'll take these. Doesn't need these. I'll keep these. It's fine. So he sells some of them, and also during the cavern area with all the flesh monsters. He was every time they rescue one of the fairies, the cages that the gilded cages that were locked in. He's like, that's a gold cage, yoink, and puts them all into his bag of holding. And so he's like, what about all these cages? And just dumps all these gold cages onto here. And here's the currency, and he rolled really well. And so the bugbear's like, yep, done. Let's fix you up with a ride. And so he manages to secure a carriage. Fairly decently sized one with some, you know, minor luxury internals. It has cushions on the seats and it has curtains and it has big enough doors that a big boy Bonk can get in without knocking around. It has a chest in it. It has a chest of, what do you call it? My God. Like a bag of holding, but it's chest. Chest of holding, sorry. Thank you. So they can place their items safely within somewhere, wherever they need to be. And 2 horses. So they have 2 horses that are in the front. And Bongomir is like, oh, I want to name all of them. And they're like, all right. He's like, we've got Clip and Clop. And the carriage is called the Hell Rig. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I love it. I love it so much. So we have Helvig's Hell Rig. and you got clip and clop. And I was like, it's perfection. You've done me good. Fleur, on the other hand, finds there's one shop where the sign is painted really bad and spelt incorrectly, and she goes into there, and she's like, it smells so strong of different incenses and everything. She's like, all right, let's have a look around. And it's got fairies who are in there and they're not paying attention to her whatsoever. Like, she walks in, they don't greet her, don't do anything, they're just like doing their own thing. And she speaks to her quarry soul and goes, does this seem right to you, this shop? Does this seem like normal? And then it's like, nope, this seems off. There's things, the items around here seem off. Nothing has price tags, nothing has labels or anything like that. It's obviously a shop, but like the things seem off. And so she picks one up and she's like, nope, yep, that's got some weird magical thing happening with it, and I'm good. And just leaves the shop. Out she goes. And she exits. And so they actually get to a point where they've got now a carriage with horses, the Hellrig. They've got new clothes, at least Helvig does. They've got alcohol from the bar, the tavern. They've got food. They're like, we're ready, we're good, we're like good to go. The next stop they could either go to is they could go to Cosima, which is a semi-nearby town that Auril, the daughter of Tiandra, is going to actually talk about the ball that's happening in Anvil. And so they could go there and meet up with her and Eridan, the driver, again. Or they can head straight to Anvil. If they wanted to go to Anvil, they can go straight to Anvil, which is the capital, which is where, everything happens. Before they do that, Helvig's like, oh no, Helvig, sorry. Helvig's like, can I take a bath? And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm glad you brought it up because, like, you all smell like terrible. Specifically Auxurium, because he's like, he lives in the forest. He's a druid. He's like, he's never bathed. He's like, I didn't feel the necessity to do that. Why would I need to do that? And so I'm like, well, there is actually a bathhouse in the residential district, literally just around the corner. You can head there. And they're like, yeah, done. Let's head there. And so they head to they actually head to the bathhouse. There was a lot of shenanigans that happened, literally revolving the fact that, so they get to the bathhouse. The bathhouse has three areas. You've either got specifically male, female, or mixed if you want to do that. Like if couples want to go have a bath together, because it's open to everyone, do what you must. But it's up to you if you want to go, which one you want to go to. And the idea is you can either wear the towels they give you, or you can go naked to get like the full effects of the bath, because the bath is like specifically like a healing one. Like, it's to rejuvenate you. And so you can go naked if you want. So they're all like, yeah, I'll let it all out. And then the idea of the fact that, Bong's big boy, Auxurian's a little guy, Helvig's, slender and tall, 6 foot, I believe, and Fleur's like a beautiful, delicate woman. We're like, your penises are out. And so they're like, yep. And I was like, they're like, like, what are our sizes? I was like, well, we have to roll. I think we rolled for endowment. And so legitimately we rolled for endowment for the sizes of not only the boys, the males' penis sizes, but Fleur's metaphysical, non-real penis. She rolled the highest, so she's like lording it over the other ones, being like, hey, if I had one, would have been the biggest one. So we did have a dick measuring contest just before we went to the bath. And if I remember right, Auxurian's is like a tripod because he's small. It was great. It's like crying with laughter because like Auxurian's like, he's short. He's like 3 feet tall, 3.5 feet tall. So when he like pulls forward, he's like a tripod. And so they decide to go into the specific gendered bathhouses. So the boys go into the males one, and Fleur goes into the females one. They get in there. It was, I think it was you have a use of inspiration to increase the size of your wang. And so they get into the bathhouse and they look around and it's packed. Like both the man and female are packed full of people. Everyone's having a good time. There's people relaxing, stuff like it. Bong's just like cannonballs into it. He's like, I'm ready to go. Jumps straight into it. And he's having fun. Helvig sees that at the end of the actual fence, like the fenced off area where the bath is, that there was two of the Dragonborns he had seen in the tavern before that he'd befriended. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to say hi, because there's a third one there this time. Goes over, starts talking to him. There's a third one, is actually one of their friends, and they finally met up, and they were like, yeah, we're all together now. Like, we're actually a band. Like, we're an actual, like, band, and we were going to travel to Anvil to play there and stuff. And he's like, oh, sweet, and everything like that. And they're all like, yeah, they notice that there's, like, one very odd fellow who's, like, talking to himself. And so he's, like, got a towel on, and everything like that, and he's sitting in the corner of the bath. And he's got, like, very long, flowing silver hair. It's kind of jutting out. It's very spiky, very anime-esque like that. And it's got, like, you know, bits that are, like, sticking out like that and jagged and stuff like that. Very cut and very long. And he's kind of, like, sitting there muttering to himself. And they're like, oh, it's a bit weird. And then on Fleur's side, on the female side, she walks in there, surveys the area, sees there's, like, kind of groups of people, kind of cliques talking to each other. And she notices the very pretty young blonde girl at the very end. Very young, I think I said she's 16. Very shy looking. She's got her head down and stuff like that. She's kind of like, you know, twiddling her thumbs and stuff. And Fleur's like, I'm going to go say hi. She seems like she wants to talk to someone, because she, like, lifts her heads up and look and goes, makes eye contact with Fleur, and then immediately, like, darts her eyes back down. Like she's like, she wants to talk to someone. She's just incredibly shy. And so Fleur walks over, and she's a very well-spoken, very friendly, warm person. And so she walks over and she's like, introduces herself. She's like, hey, I'm Fleur. Do you mind if I just sit here? And so the young girl's like, just nods and goes, yep. So Fleur sits down next to her. Back on the other side, the minute that Fleur sits down, the young man, like, immediately kind of, like, perks up and goes over to the fence, which, of course, it's barricaded off. It's partitioned off, so you can't see on the other side, which that would defeat the purpose of having specific gender things, and puts his ear up to the wall to listen. And Helvig's just like, the fuck's this dude doing? And he's kind of watching him, and he's like, all right. And so Helvig has a pet, because I remember I've TLDR'd this, so the bits I'm going to drop into it, like I said, has a pet skeletal cat. And so he's like, go, my little skeletal minion, just go see what's going on. This man is so, transfixed on listening that this cat literally climbs up him and perches itself on his shoulder, and he does not notice. He's, like, fully listening to what's happening on the other end. And so Helvig gets the attention of Xurian, and Xurian's like, yep, got it, I'm watching. And so back on the other end, because this is just whip, 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 whip. And so on the other end, we have Fleur talking to this young woman who doesn't seem to be responding, and so she places her hand out. And so Fleur's like, cool. And they join hands, and then all of a sudden, Fleur can hear her voice. Her mouth is moving, like the audible, like her mouth is making the movements of talking, but there's no actual audio coming out. There's no voice coming out. But she can now hear it in her mind. So they've made a sort of link between the two of them, so that to make it seem less kind of eerie for some people who are not used to having telepathic communication in their mind, having the kind of mouth movement as well as the voice kind of breaks down that barrier and makes it vastly less like, oh my lord, what's going on? It's easier for people to handle who are not used to magic or stuff like that. And so that's kind of like what she was doing. And so yeah, she's like, yeah, I'm like, we're here. I'm enjoying a bath. I'm very shy. I did want to talk to people, but I'm not good at it. And so she's like, that's fine. Like, we'll just hang around here and blah, 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 blah. Fleur introduces herself and they have a nice conversation, everything like that. And then, Helvig on the other side is like, I'm not too keen about what this dude's doing. He links to Fleur to talk to her. And Fleur's like, yeah, I'm all good. I'm just talking to someone over here and stuff like that. And Helvig's like, well, just warning you, there's a creepy dude literally like on the other end, like listening in, like against the wall. And the minute that kind of like, because essentially you've made a three-way conversation. So Helvig's linked to Fleur, but of course, because she's still holding the hand of this young girl, she could hear it, and her emotions rise because she's heard that there is some man on the other end that is listening in. And so she's like, oh, no, okay, I've got to go. She's like, I'm sorry, no. Well, I knew we shouldn't have come. She said, I knew we shouldn't have come. This isn't okay. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry this has happened. She's like, I'm going to go. Fleur's like, oh, okay, if you're sure, like, I'll come with you. And so they get up and they start to leave. And they get towards the entrance to the main foyer area. Also, they're, like, naked. Except for the towels and stuff wrapped around them. The minute she gets up and starts to leave with the heightened emotions, the man on the other end, like, his ears perk up and he's just like bolts. And I mean, he runs full speed to the entrance at the exact same time. And Helvig's just like, no, not okay. That's not okay behavior. Something's wrong. Uxorion's like, okay, yep, no, okay, I see what's going on. He goes, I'm going to follow. So the two boys follow. Bong, on the other hand, just kind of like playing with the water, making like splashy puddles. He does not care what's going on. He's like, I am loving this bath. Does not care. Has not noticed anything that's going on. We love Bong. His intelligence is low, but his heart is high, and that's all that matters. And so they make it to the foyer, and so Fleur's like, hey, I'm gonna like, we'll go get dressed and stuff like that. So the two of them are staying in the foyer. This man, and immediately he runs out. First thing he sees is this random stranger, which is Fleur, talking to this woman, grabs her by the throat and lifts her into the air and like starts crushing her windpipe like immediately. The like impact immediately hits Fleur, and Fleur's like, what the fuck? Holy shit. She's like Constitution fighting against, her windpipe getting crushed. Helvig and Uxorion make it out, and once again, naked, make it into the foyer, see their comrade being held aloft by her throat into the air. And of course, Fleur had to make a daddy joke right then and there. I will allow it. It's fine. Lifting into the air, they're like, nope, fuck that, you need to put her down. Before they can act, the young girl issues a command, and it's the first time I've seen her like perk up and be like, she's long blonde girl. I was given the opportunity. It's true. Yeah, I made the opportunity for you. And so they, what do you call it? Holy shit. So the young girl literally like uses like pure force, and the man, you can see him like immediately gets like, he's like, oh, all right, and raises her, like drops her like down, and he immediately is like shudders and like reserves back into himself, and he's like, I have done something bad. And he goes, I'm going to go and acquire our stuff. He goes to the main reception area, which is the Yuan Ti, the snake ladies and men, and goes, yep, can you please organize our clothes to be sent to the change rooms? And so there's like a pulley system that basically goes along the roofs of the actual bathhouse, in which they will like send it to the appropriate area. And so the clothes were being sent from that point to the appropriate rooms. And so the woman's like, yep, you're getting dressed and going outside. She's like, you're going outside. I don't want to see you right now. And he's like, sullen, like, the Marco Sarah, like, bam, 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 walks out to the front after getting dressed. Fleur's like, cool, you okay? She's like, yep, I'm just really angry right now. Still linked by holding hands. She's like, right, cool, yep, I'm going to go get dressed. Sorry, man, I'm losing my voice. Here we go. Oh, that's better. Goes, yep, I'm going to get dressed, so I'm going to go at the front. Is that okay? And the young girl's like, yep, that's all good. I'm going to get dressed too. Helvig's like, yep, you okay? Like, you're all good? Fleur's like, yeah, I'm all good. Luxurian's like, well, I'm going to go get our big friend out there. Goes out to get Bong. And Bong has now become, like, he loves just grabbing Luxurian like he's a teddy bear and utilizing him in any way he can. And so he picks up Luxurian and kind of like hugs him and he goes, nah, fuck this, I want to go. And so he goes, you want to go? All right. And he literally throws him. And I mean, he throws poor Luxurian, like human being, like a ball as hard as he can, because he rolled well, into the wall. Thankfully, Luxurian rolled really well in acrobatics to be able to kind of like land his feet against the wall, like Spider-Man, and just kind of like stick to it and just kind of go hoop and hop into the wall. And he's like, Bong, we gotta go. And so Luxurian's like, all right, I'm done. I'm cool. I've been thrown against the walls too many times by this man. I've been manhandled by this man, this orc, too many times. I'm good. And so, yeah. And so he's like, I'm done. I'm good. Fleur's like, Bong, you out now. And Bong's like, all right, I'm gonna get out now. And gets up, goes to get dressed, and goes out the front. They go out the front. You can see the young man standing there, looking to be. He's in trouble and he knows it, and so they're like, "Oh, well, you fucked up." And he's like, "Yep." The young girl gets at the front, and gives him a sort of grilling that they can't hear, and he backs down immediately. Says sorry really begrudgingly, like, because he's forced to say it. So he says sorry to them, but he's like, straight away can tell he's like, you guys are very, very strong. I can tell that straight away. He's like, feels this kind of like his bloodlust start to rise up in him, and they're like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird. And the girl, you can see, she's like, oh no, here we go. And the man's like, slowly you can see he's starting to get more hair on his face. He's got like fur and stuff growing on his hands and stuff like that. He gets a slightly more elongated face, and he's like, we're fighting. He's like, no, we're fighting. And so they're like, oh, all right, cool. And they're like, do I have an opportunity to like not? And he's like, nope, we're doing this. And they're like, all right, cool. And so the rest of them are like, well, he's annoyed the service. He has held up our friend by her throat. Bong's like, nope, you've hurt. That's right. I forgot an important part as to why it happened. So, as a sorry thing, and because it's a custom for them to learn, he holds his hand out to Helvig to say, "I'm sorry." As he does that, he clocks him gently onto Helvig's face, and Helvig goes, "Oh, I'm going to clock you back" as a sign of thing, because the guy goes, "Yep, you can do it back." But Bong, anytime his friends are hurt, Bong just like flies into a rage. He's like, "That's my friend. Don't ever touch my friend." So he's like, goes straight rage, and then minute when he goes raged, the man's like, "Cool, a fight. Let's do this." They go to the woods, somewhere segregated away from everyone else, because they did things like, we can't fight out front of a bathhouse where there's patrons, and so they're like, "Yep, no, we can't do that." So they go to the woods, and you see that the man transforms into a werewolf. A very large silverbacked one. Like, he grows like several more feet in height and muscular size. He gets huge. And so they're like, Fleur's like, I'm good. This isn't my fight. I want to chat with the young girl. Luxurian's like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do this. So Helvig and Bong are like, fuck it, let's do this. And so they fight him. It's a really decent fight, and they rolled really well, specifically because he had like, and I haven't seen it properly yet, but he has legendary actions, and they're like a last resort type attack. And so he's like being beaten. He's doing some decent damage to Bong. Not so much to Helvig in the sky. But the battle finishes with the man basically doing a final attack to try and at least take out one of them. And he does do some damage to Bong, but it doesn't quite finish. Like, doesn't do enough to worry him too much. And then they finish off the man, and he's basically gets knocked back. He takes a rest against the ground. He's like flattened on the ground. He's like, seems incredibly happy with this entire fight. The entire fight, he's like getting more and more elated. He's getting more and more bloodlust, and he's enjoying the thrill of the battle as he's like werewolf, like, you know, persona is taking over. Persona, his werewolf side is taking over. Fuck, I hate that word. Is taking over, and he's enjoying the fight. And so, after the fight finishes and they all start to kind of calm down a bit, they do notice Bong, once again, after he uses his rage, he's not remembering what happens during the rage, but this time he does. And he also raged, when he raged, he changed color. He changed a different color this time. I haven't seen this color. And so, the man's like, I'm spent. That was a ripper fight. Like, thank you so much. That was great. And the woman's like, cool. You're all incredibly strong. I think I'm going to talk to you properly now. And so she transforms herself. She grows several more feet in height. She ages. She gets long silver hair. Her eyes go... So you get long silver hair rather than the blonde. She, you know, her outfit changes as well. Her breasts expand. She gets like a proper figure. She gets different clothing, and her teeth pop out as well. So you can see that they got fangs. And she introduces herself as Amelia. And so you've got Amelia as the woman, and Zaidan is the man. And Zaidan is her kind of bodyguard. Not that she would probably need it, but just the way her family works is that's her bodyguard. And so they introduce themselves, you know, to them. They bow. Everyone else is like, well, cool. Holy shit. Like, that wasn't expected. And so they've met Amelia and Zaidan. What happens after that is the party's, you know, recouping a bit. They decide to heal Zaidan a bit so he can get up and, you know, actually have a proper conversation instead of just lying on the floor like, you know, I got beaten bad. They heal him up. He's very thankful for it. He explains, you know, he's her charge, so she's her. Yeah, he's to look after Amelia, and so you know, he's linked to her. Anytime he feels a spark in her emotions, he's like, oh, I'm up and ready to go. I need to look after her. And so that's kind of like what happens. And so she's like, yeah, I'm sorry. It's the way he is. It's the whole werewolf side of him coming out, and they're very protective and all that. And she's like, yep, I understand. And then she's like, well, I do have a proposition for you if you are interested. You all are incredibly strong, specifically because you are able to beat my brother, which they introduce later on, and I'll go through the family tree. But you are able to beat my brother, Zaidan, and he's not exactly weak, so would you be willing to join my small militia? And she explains that, which I'll go through the family tree ish now. We'll do that. Let's do that. So, Amelia and Zaidan are part of the Regendorf family. So you've got Amelia Regendorf and Zaidan Regendorf. The Regendorf name, no matter what, carries over, even though they've got different parents. So you have mum and dad fall in love. They're vampires in Mesimbra, the dark side of the Unsilly side. They're basically one of the richest houses there, if not the richest house there. They've been vampires for so many hundreds of years. They've built up an empire there. And they basically built up their empire by not exactly the nicest means, by slave trade and various other means that are easy income. And so they, the husband and wife, or the mum and dad, I should say, have many children. They have, and I think I'm going to find out where I wrote it down because I had the whole tree and I have the doc, I should have put it up. But they have many children together. I believe there's 21 in total, if I remember. And I think they have 11. We'll go with that because I'll get the doc back up so I can remember. But they have 11 brothers and sisters to each other. And so after a while, they do fall out of love because they are immortal beings and they are together for a while. And so you have all vampires on that side. But then the father marries a mistress who is a werewolf. And so that new Regendorf line there is a mixture of werewolves and vampires on that side as well. That's right, I do remember now. It was 11, 9, and then the mum, the original mum, who leaves to find a new partner, has one child, which is Zidon, by himself. So he's the sole heir to whatever, which I haven't introduced that yet to the party. But essentially, the mum, the original mum, goes and marries some other new man, and Zidon is the only child that they have. So he's very much like the kind of runt of the litter. I say that he's a not really runt, but he's the black sheep, you'd essentially call it. So like he's the only child that's by himself. Amelia's the first daughter of the original mum and dad, the original Regendorfs. And so she's like the oldest one, very powerful, as she would be. So she's the first daughter, and then there's the first son, and they kind of like head to head with kind of power. What happens is when the father goes and marries the mistress, and they together have their 9 kids, the oldest daughter on that side, she's a bit evil. And I mean very evil. She immediately takes to the family business, which is slave trading, but also just like extortion. Any way they can get money to influence their power and structure and increase it, that's how they do it. And so she's immediately like, I love this family. I love everything about the nefarious things they do, and I'm all for it. And so she becomes like the favorite, essentially, by the dad. Dad's like, yep, you're my favorite. Of course you are. Like, holy hell, yeah. And so they're like, cool, all right, sweet. There's a little inner turmoil between both families. Both families talk to each other very frequently because they're like still technically related. You can call them half siblings, but they all live in the same house still, which is an expansively large mansion in Masimbra. And so you've got 2 sets of Regendorfs because it's the same father. And they live in the same house, but some of them are like, I don't like how we get our money, and they've gone and left the house entirely. They've ventured out on their own, they're doing their own thing. Some stay because they're like, I don't have to do anything. Like, I'm immortal. Like, even the werewolves have longevity for their lives. They're like, I can live here, do whatever I want. And some are like, I can actively participate in the family trade. With regards to the Witchlight Carnival, they were warned just before they left that there is a Darklight Festival, which is like a mockery counterpart to the Witchlight Carnival that is in the Fae, that roams around and is like an evil version of it. Like, all the rides and all the attractions are specifically designed with like torture or, malicious intent behind them. They're not positive in any way, but the people that visit there are actually like, cool, it's free to enter if you want to just watch like the stuff that happens. So if you want to ride and stuff, you have to pay, but watch the shows, it's free. But also, like, bandits are like, I can sell you slaves. Like, I can make you money. And the guys in charge, which are still Mr. Witch and Mr. Light, but they're not quite the same. They're like, yep, hell yeah. Like, sell us ammunition, what we call it. Like, sell us people, sell us whatever you want. Like, I will take whatever you want off your hands because I make money off the enjoyment of these sadistic people that are like, I want to watch someone get knives thrown at them. And if it hits them, oh well, they lose an eye or they lose an arm, or whatever. Like, that's the whole point of the Darklight Festival. It's like a macabre version of like the positive affluation of like the Witchlight Carnival. And so, one of the number one, if not the number one source of slave trade for like selling them to the Darklight Festival, because it roams around as like carnivals do, is the Riegendorfs. So they do sell slaves at other places as well, but like a large chunk of it, you'd say like 45% of it do go to the Darklight Festival. So they'll pay off bandits. They'll be like, capture whoever you want, give us our cut, and you can sell them to whoever you want. Doesn't matter. So that's the decent bulk of the family trade. Like I said, it's not exactly lovely, but also like when you're like an immortal being, you're like, I gotta make money somehow, and this is easy, and I have no moral compass. Let's do it. But Amelia does not agree with this. She doesn't like the way that the Riegendorf family household is run, how they get their money, and she's not the only one of the siblings that doesn't agree with this. There are multiple other ones that are like, I don't like this. That's why they either move out or they side with Amelia, and they're like, I wish we could stop this somehow. Like, I really don't enjoy this whatsoever. And so they're like, Amelia's like, cool, my idea is I'm going to take over the household. I'm going to find a way to become the matriarch, and I want to be the head. I want to take over the head. I need to retire my father and his new mistress, because the mistress is like, I can do whatever I want. I'm all powerful. She's like, cool, I'm going to figure out a way to get that sorted. Before she can do that, the oldest daughter on the new Riegendorf side, so Riegendorf's 2.0, if you want to call them that, the daughter's name is Evelyn. And so Evelyn is a bit special. She not only she's not only a werewolf, she's not only a vampire, but she's learned how to actually warp into other creatures. And so she's calling herself Quinrala the Spider Queen. And she's currently residing in the Bleak Mist Forest. And what she's currently doing in the forest is poisoning it. She's made her base of operations in the forest somewhere. It's a very large forest, so it's not easy to track people down. But she's in the forest. She's creating an army, because I have had people go in, join the militia, and do that, and like not come out. And so Amelia's like, I need to stop this by, unfortunately, killing my sister. And so Amelia's like, I'm making a small task force that is going into the forest, infiltrating it, finding out what they can do, stopping supply lines, stopping slave trade, burning parts of the forest where I need to, like finding my sister, figuring out what's going on, ending her little army she has, and killing her. And so she's like, I'm actively asking now, can you help me with this? And so the party's like, well, we did have this other thing going on with Anvil and Cosima and Oriel and stuff. And so I gave them the choice. They could choose what to do, what they wanted to do. And so they were like, you know what? No, this sounds pretty bad. And it's actively happening now. So I was like, the other stuff's still happening in tandem, but this is like pretty much a detriment to like, the Fae as a whole. And so they're like, no, let's do it. And so Amelia's like, that's cool. The one thing I have to warn you though is you will be at my service. I am your general. I'm your boss. And so I will have to brand you with like, kind of like a branding that's a slave branding. She's like, so you will be directly under my servitude. That's all good. No, thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. And so she's like, yep, no, I actively think, yeah, you have to become you have to listen to what I say. And she's like, I'm not going to force you. It's just it's a branding to show you how you can get into the guild when you find it. And they're like, oh, I don't exactly like that. But they're like, we do want to, help what's going on. And so they agree, and they do get the branding placed on their hand. Like, so they, yep. And it does show entry into the guild. So once they get to the main guild hall where it's all happening, they have their entry pass. And so Amelia's like, cool, thank you. We're going to head there now. If you'd like to attend, like, I can take you part of the way and stuff like that. It's in a small fishing village called Tubercorn. Tubercorn is where we're having our base of operations. It's on the skirting line of the forest, but it's also a fishing port, so we get supplies and stuff via the sea. So it's kind of really knuckered down. It's really well done. And so they're like, she's like, we're heading there now if you want to join. And so they're like, yeah, let's head on down. Like, if we want to start doing this, let's get this going. And so the party's like, sweet, that's our next port of call. So the party's like, we're going to head with Amelia and Zidane to Tubercorn to join their militia force there and help to take a stance against her evil sister. Because, like I said, his sister is like full on evil, and she's like pretty much like pretty evil. So they're like, yep, let's do that. Let's go out there. We wanna join the good fight. And so that was the next protocol for the party, and that's where I'll end it because it's getting late, and we've almost caught up. I will actually do another stream this week and finish it because we're almost at the end of where it's caught up, and by my calculations, semi-decent at math. And they're all prepared to go. We should be able to start this properly in 2 weeks. So not next week, Monday, because I got to finish prep and make sure we're all good to go. But the one after that, we should be able to start our first session online, and everyone can watch, and we'll get back into it because I'm really excited, and I hope they are too, because I really want to keep going. But that's where we're up to, and so I'll do one more this week. I'll do one more stream this week to finish up the recap, and then, like I said, we'll put it on our socials, so everyone can see it. But that's where we're up to there, and the next one will be shorter because I'm closing in on it, and it's been awesome. So with that, I say thank you. And this week I will endeavour to actually get it done hopefully Thursday. So by Thursday I'll have the last one finishing off. It will be uploaded. That'll be from the start, the shortened version, but the start to where we're up to. And then hopefully in the next week or two we can literally just start the sessions and everyone can start watching from there. And then I can start doing the voices and DMing again. And it's been a long time. I had a baby, so it's been hard to do it with him around, but I want to get back into it, which is good. Yeah, we get Orc back. So, thank you. I appreciate it very much for me listening to prattling on, and I will literally get back on this week if you turn notifications and tells you. But yeah, so this week will be the week that we finish it, and then either next week, most likely the week after, we can start doing it, and we can start playing and having fun and progressing on, because we have our cameo characters, which we'll get into in the next one. So, thank you, have a fantastic night, and yes, I will see you on the next one. Catches.